Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Gift of Gab. Man, this episode, man, let's get a little lovey. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a little lovey dovey. Talking about marriage. I think that's a kind of a what's the word I'm trying to look for? I feel like there's a misconception a lot of times, about brown young black men in marriage.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's one of the things about let's talk about it.
mm.
Let's talk about it. So the kind of things to kind of want to start this off is bro, tell me why you desire to be married.
First of all, my name is Jarvis.
Oh, sorry,
I'm
fatties.
married.
Intro.
Uh,
Y'all know who you are by now.
uh,
And it's your first time watching. Welcome back.
yeah,
Or
you
welcome.
know who we are at this point, but whatever. Why did I desire to get married? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And I wanted something different for myself, so I did something different. There's not a whole bunch of, there's not a whole lot of examples of successful marriages, and I'm not just talking about you. And we all, let me back up. We all define successful marriages differently. I didn't see what I considered to be a successful marriage in my immediate circle, but I saw that in other examples and other instances. And honestly, one of the biggest ones was, and don't persecute me or crucify me, audience, but I wanted to be Cliff Huxtable at one time. So
Say Cliff Huxtable.
yes,
Okay,
man.
okay.
He was like a great husband and a great
He
dad and
was.
all that stuff. So I had other influences that showed me like the value and the worth of being married. So that's kind of what my journey went. So how it happened for you? Like what happened?
Man, I don't know. For me, for me, it was the thing I've always had a desire to be married. Uh, I kind of looked at. I mean, my own folks they got divorced, so for like a while, I believed in the idea of marriage that two people coming together, two people joining their souls, and two people becoming one. I always thought that idea was grand and great. But for me, I think sometimes I got married pretty young, so it might be a little different. But I think for me, maybe when I get married is I met somebody that I legit wanted to spend the rest of my life with, right?
That's dope.
Like marriage for me was never a thing of I had a goal to be married, I wanted to be married, but I can't say I was out here looking for it, right? I just so happened to find a woman for me a younger age. We dated. I got to the point where I was like, shit, man, I don't want none of these hoes and nothing like that. I don't want no other chicks. I didn't want to. Damn, now I feel bad for saying that. But what I'm saying, the stereotype idea of you don't want these hoes, but like just for me, I didn't want nobody else. So for me, it's like that's marriage for me.
That's real. So let me go back and I don't want to understate that my wife makes me want to be married.
Well, yeah, I think it's real.
Right? So I don't want to understate that. If you're looking, baby, I love you. But there was other things that showed me.
Damn,
Like,
the wife don't watch the show, bro. What you trying to say?
I know. Whitney, thank you for watching. I want to be married because of you.
I know you're supportive. I had your back, Whitney. I had your back.
But no, seriously though, like I think that, and you said it in the intro, was something that I talked to my doctor about, who just had another funny story about. She's dating a younger man, my age,
Yeah.
and she's the age of my wife. And I'm not gonna give out. No, y'all not about to talk crap about me or my wife, so I'm not gonna tell y'all what those ages are. But she was saying that dating men her age and dating men in our age bracket, because you in the same bracket too, old ass.
I don't mind being old.
She said there's a significant difference in the way that we value and view and converse about marriage. And she affectionately, this is a woman with a PhD, she said it's obvious that men like 34 to 42 grew up in the crack era. And they saw dysfunctions in the family homes, the family structure, and that immediate class of men that came right after that, we grew up in a completely different era, the late 80s, early 90s, where you had like sitcoms like Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
That's a good point.
all these other, the Huxtable.
She had examples.
You had examples of strong black men in the media. You had examples of other men, just ponying up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take care of my family, and then I think the latent effect of that now is most of my friends desire to be married or they are married. You feel me?
That's true.
So, I think that culturally we have changed. You feel me? And I think that, don't kill me for saying this, but economically and financially, it just makes sense to marry somebody that you love and ride it out.
That's true. I mean, it's funny because there's a real there's tax benefits to marriage. There are certain tax benefits you get to marriage. Like you get to split the bills. So I mean, I would say that there is finances to it. I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna say that. Like some of my, for example, I know when I first got married, some of my friends were talking about things like they can and can't do. They'd be like, man, Dad, how you do that? I'm like, dual income, bro. Like, I'm splitting all my bills. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. So there are benefits to it. But I don't know, man, I'm happy you actually brought a thought to me that I didn't think about before. So with us having those ideas of marriage and what it is, do you think that sometimes where I know now that I want to say the divorce rate, if it's not at 50, if it's not above 50%, is damn near at 50%. Why do you think that is?
So I'm an information junkie, so of course I read about it.
Yeah.
So I think that 50%, I think it's marginally, not marginally, it's significantly, like maybe like 7 percentage points less. But the divorce rate has slowed down. But what has happened is people are marrying later. So you and Echo, y'all are unicorns at being married. Y'all were at 26.
Yeah. We had just turned 26.
Yeah, I had just turned 26. It's March, so you had just turned 26.
Yeah.
Right? So, y'all are unicorns in terms of people that want to be legally binding to somebody that fucking young.
Yeah.
Right? So y'all did something that at 26, I was probably 1 foot in somebody's bed and 1 foot in somebody else's bed.
Hey, look.
Ain't no telling what I was doing at 26.
But I'll be honest and say this too though, like, and I want to make sure, because I know you said I got married at 26. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I do want to emphasize, I actually don't mind the idea of getting married later. I think sometimes a lot of times people will look at me and look at the fact that I got married young. Right. Even some of my homies, when I got married, man, I had one dude at the wedding.
Come on. At the actual location in which you got married.
Yeah, let me finish the story. So I had one dude at my wedding, and mind you, man, he's my homie. I know who he is, you know what I'm saying? That's my homie. So it wasn't like it was a problem. So, man, I come talk to you. I was like, yeah, what's up? He's like, man, looking at you, you know, every people who know Lauren before like from college days know say school, right? So like, man, I see you in school getting married, man, and it's just got me thinking, man. I was like, bro, look. Take your time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. I thought he was going to tell you, but why you doing so early?
Oh, no, I mean, I ain't going to sit here in front of that. That'd be jacked up. Now I see why he's going to like, that talk happened like when I got engaged. But being real at 25, that's a young age. I ain't gonna lie, I say it like that like it, but it's just real. Like, I will always say this. My situation was very specific.
Yeah.
I met Lauren when I was 18.
Right.
We went to school together. We grew up together. Lauren is the only woman on this God's green earth and blue sky that I would have married at 26. And you knew me. That was the only woman I would have married at 26. Another woman could have not tried to say the M word to me at 26. Marriage? Girl, please. But like I said, me and Lauren, we had put time in. And it was at the point it was just like, I don't want to be with nobody else. Love you. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and do this thing. But literally, Lauren Shanice Williams is the only woman that could happen with, right? So I still want to say, take your time. Because I do think, I'm glad to getting married older, I think a lot of times that's a good thing, right? Because when you're getting married older, I mean, you can say stuff like, I feel like this too, we in 2020, you know, a lot of times people are like, you know, age and having kids. We in 2020. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not like how it used to be, right? Like, the age of 30 with having kids is no longer, to me, I feel like exists. Like, you know, people have had kids at a later time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It happens. So it's like, if you wait, like, because I feel like when you wait, you know yourself better, you know what you're seeking, you know what you're wanting. And I think that's what helps out because you're more mature. It just, not the fact, that's just a maturity level thing.
So let me lead by example before I ask you this. So,
yeah.
My marriage had to be divine by God. You feel me? Because
Right.
when I met, me and my wife, we were coworkers first, and we weren't the greatest fans of each other. And that because we communicate with two different on two different frequencies. We were at that time. Our love languages were completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm trying to find myself, and I'm thinking this is my love language, and that's the be all end all. And I didn't understand that, I have to learn to love people in their love language and hear them and listen to them and be with them in their love language or this, that, and the third. Without getting too mushy, but once things happened and we ended up in a relationship and we had our son and we moved in and we did everything completely backwards in terms of what we envisioned it happening.
Yeah.
Son came first, marriage, and then we're trying to buy a house instead of a house, marriage, and son.
Is there such thing as the right thing though?
So,
Is there such thing as the right thing?
There is no right. So that's it. So I married my wife because she loved me, or she made a gallant attempt of loving me the way that I desired to be loved, and she gave me the opportunity to have two things that I always wanted in my own childhood, and that is stability and consistent love. Like, so I said, I'm never going to let this go. Like, this is what I want for the rest of my life. So that was, and as I sit here and think about it, because whatever, I was thinking about it. That is why I desired to be married. Now, me getting married at the age of 30, I remember being raised by my grandparents. You feel me? And having a little bit of an old soul. I used to say by 21, you feel me? 22, I'm getting married. I'm graduating from college and I'm getting married.
Ain't no way me nor you are 21 or 22.
Boys
out here trying to get married.
Boy, stop. I used to go out by the jewelry stores and just completely turn my head. I did not even want to look at it anymore.
Right. Sorry, I did at 22, you gonna get married, what? So, hell no, we'll get married.
So, honestly, that take your time piece that you were speaking to, take your time. If the only advice I can give you is to take your time and learn who it is that you're trying to sign that paper with. You feel me? Because that's your partner. That's it. That's the Kobe to your Shaq. But you feel me? That's it. That's your partner. That's your spade partner. You feel me? Ain't no reneging. You feel me? So,
man, it's funny you say that, bro. I never forget. We dated in college, bro. We was at this college party. Yeah. We was playing spades, and I was like, "Oh, come on, babe, let's play spades." I was like, "Babe, you know what you're doing?" She's like, "Yeah." We playing, and I peeped that she had played. I peeped that she had played the club and cut the club early. I'm quiet. I ain't gonna tell on her. She was my open, baby, you slick. I know what you're doing. Bruh, we played the hand. She reneged that hand. I know you reneged the hand, but I ain't gonna say shit. You know how I go when you play spades? Why she picked up the book? We about to get to the next book. Oh, I think I reneged. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't never tell that you reneged.
And you still chose for her to be a spades partner, though, right?
In life, not real spades. In life. Oh no, sorry, I have to tell that story. But it really is it is your partner, and that's really honestly when I got married. That's what I thought about. Me and Lauren was a little bit different. Me and Lauren before we even started dating was legit friends. Right? That's legit my homie, road dog, right? So man, it's really about finding that person, man. That's why I say I think a lot of times when I have friends, I think some people when they saw me get married at a young age, they thought I was this person. And I remember people said, "Oh man, you life went by the plan," and that's why I said the right way earlier. Cause I don't really think there's a right or wrong way. To me, if you make it to if you make it to death do us part, your marriage is good in my opinion. Now if you make it to death do us part, that's a good marriage. And even if you get divorced, I don't think that's a I don't want to say a bad thing. And I don't want to do that to the divorce rate. Two things I'm kind of going around. But when you said about the right way of doing it, I wanted to kind of speak about that too, because when people get divorced, I think a lot of times people think, oh, that marriage failed. I don't like saying that marriage failed. I like the idea of saying these people realize they not gonna work this out no more, so they departed, right? But it's the way that you depart. there is a certain way about the party, right? You know what I'm saying? There's different if you out here and you got a whole other chick pregnant after that divorce, right? Right. That's to me that's a failed marriage, in my opinion, right? That's failed. You literally cheated on your wife and got a whole nother woman pregnant, right? Because the deeper thing of that is you done went because you put your own wife in danger, right? Like you done went something another woman unprotected. Then we know how babies get made, how that happened. You know what I'm saying? Then you went back home to your woman, you probably slept with her too. That's I'm like, damn man. I say I'm a firm believer. They're just a way of doing things. Like if you get to a point with your wife and you like this ain't what I want to be in no more, then get divorced.
So let me ask you something. Like, so how do you feel about like counseling and having like some type of remediation within your marriage, even when things are good? Just sitting in front of somebody and just being your authentic self and telling your truth within in your marriage. How do you is that something that you're willing to do, or is that in the third, or like what's your thoughts on that?
I think counseling is a beautiful thing. Me and Lauren, we did counseling. Because it was a pandemic, we couldn't. Our person, they weren't the best with technology, so we just kind of had like, let's find somebody else, right? So we had a she it wasn't all that great. We keep it up with the appointments, and you know what I'm saying, and the distance thing. So we're probably going to have to find somebody else, unfortunately. But the for me, therapy as a whole, I think is good because ultimately the therapy exposed some things that I was doing that I cognitively wasn't aware of, right? It exposed, well, Dad, sometimes you have potential. For example, like when I debate, I sometimes.
Do you really want to go into your?
Oh.
Go with that. Go with that one because I could probably speak toward that one too.
I'm human.
Okay,
So it was like just things that she would point out to me, like sometimes when the way that I bring something up, I sometimes can be aggressive, and I think it comes off as I'm angry, right? But I was like, no, I'm not angry. I'm just an excitable person. So sometimes when I was speaking to Lauren, that's how it would come off. And so what I learned was like, okay, Thaddeus, sometimes take a break or say, hey, I'm not upset. So if I get loud, that's why I get loud. Or sometimes just warn people, right? So it just kind of taught me things on how I can communicate better with Lauren. And just like you said, like love languages, right? You need to understand what your partner's love language is so you can love them in the way that you're doing.
But that takes
time. It takes time, and therapy helps that out. Because if you and your partner communicate differently, how am I supposed to know what she needs, right? If I can't understand how she communicates, sometimes you need that person in the middle. I don't think nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I think you going to therapy to me is you saying I'm willing to fight for this marriage.
Black man, if you're watching and you're married, has your wife ever told you that your what I call passion towards certain topics come off as aggressive or argumentative? Because I get that all the time. Like all the time.
That's a good point.
Like Whitney, like she's walking on eggshells when people say certain things that she triggers my comeback. Yeah. She be like, please don't do it. And I get to talking and she be like, damn, he did it. Like because she know once you start talking about something that I am passionate about, that I'm going to give you all my facts. It's very structured. It is very mock you in some shit I did in college when I learned how to debate. Like it's all of that. You feel me? And she said that sometimes it comes off as if I am intellectually or academically like demeaning someone. Like I'm beating.
Oh, so kind of like, no, honestly, for real, that's an example of like what we talked about in a thin line between woke and A. Yeah. Like sometimes it could come off that way, but you're not meaning for it.
It's never my intent. I'm always bringing gifts. My gift is my understanding of knowledge. That's my gift. That's all I got for you. You feel me? So it's never one of those things where I know this and because I know it and you don't, you're dumb.
Yeah.
It's never that. However, if you say some stupid shit, I'm going to check you. And she's like, I'm going to say something to you if you say something dumb.
Yeah.
And she's like, it comes off as uber aggressive, you feel me? But that was in the early stages of our marriage and our relationship, and now she knows like who I am, and she knows that I am selective with it. Like I only do it to certain people, like you. I can do it to you because you know that it ain't coming from a bad place.
Yeah, that.
And you have no problem telling me that what I'm saying is dumb either. So yeah. So it's one of those things. But but that's one of those things that take time, and I think the benefit of having someone with you that knows you and understands your communication style, your passions, your like a SWOT analysis with your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and I forgot what the T is, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's good to have your partner that will understand that because it keeps you in check. And I've grown so much since being married.
And I'm actually happy you brought that up. So I'm going to ask you about this too, because and the funny thing is, and the crazy thing is, because our marriages are a little bit different. Like, I was with Lauren for like literally we were together 8 years before we got married.
Y'all got married young,
you know
old,
what I'm saying?
young,
Yeah.
I'm old. Y'all just not having a kid. Y'all
Yeah.
got married, got the house, and then having a kid.
Well,
we got the kid, got the house, and then we had the kid, got married. Now we're trying to get out. It's literally moving like this, and hopefully sooner or later we'll meet right here.
Well, no, I get you, but it's not even that. I was trying to. It's funny you brought it up. I don't even think of it like that. It's the same thing, but like, I want to ask you: do you think time matters in terms of getting married? And what I mean by that is, do you think there's a certain amount of time that you should date somebody before you get married? Because there's certain things like, for example, when me and Lauren we got married. By the time we got married, because we knew each other for so long, she knew. Sometimes she was like, he loud, he not upset. Cause she just knew me dating me for so long.
No.
Right? So do you think time matters? I personally don't, but just wondering.
No. Intent matters.
Well, let me rephrase that. I do think time doesn't matter to a point.
I think time matters if you. I think once what you are looking for, like you find like what else do you. I knew that I was going to marry my wife one day. We was looking at HGTV.
Okay.
Right? And we was looking at this house, right? And interesting fact about Jarvis, I have a thing for kitchens.
Okay,
right?
I'm not surprised you do that.
I got a thing for kitchens. I know exactly how I want my kitchen to look.
And ladies, he's off the market now. He want a man to cook. I'm sorry. He's off the market.
I want a big gas range. I want a big refrigerator. I want a microwave that's in the actual cabinetry, not up. I want it to be down. You feel me? Like it's.
I want to ask why, but I feel like that could take the episode to
because I don't.
And you answered it.
Eventually, I'm going to get old, and then I'm a creature of convenience, and I want everything to be laid out in a way that I can grow old. If I'm going to be paying 30 years of shit, they need to function for 30 years. You feel me? So it's a certain way that I want shit. You feel me? I want a big island because I don't want to form a dining room, so I want my kitchen to function in so many ways. You feel me? So, and when one day we was looking at a house, she was like, I don't like that. I want it to look like this, that, and the third. And as she was building it, as she was talking, it was the exact kitchen that I wanted. You feel me? We had never had that conversation before. So what that said to me is, one, our goals and our purposes and tastes align. So now, if our hard work and our, everything else align, on that front, I don't have any issues. She's already the mother of my child, and there's no other woman in the world that I would want to be the mother of my child. She already loves me the way that I desire to be loved. I would be a fucking fool not to marry this woman. That's when I made up in my mind that's what I was going to do. You feel me? So it wasn't necessarily a time. I captured a moment. And
But
everything made sense.
It's funny. And the only reason I'm saying it's funny because that's the same exact shit why I married. Is it the stuff that you just said? The woman that loves you for who you are, y'all think similar alike, like Barbara said, I want her to be loving my children because she's pregnant right now. But it's just stuff like that is crazy.
Shout out to baby Tiger.
Shout out to him. Shout out, please. But it's like it's the same stuff, but how we got. It's basically we're saying the same things of what we want in marriage, what we desire, what we sought, right? We may be using different phrases because I would have never watched HGTV and picked up on that.
You should really watch it.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong. That's just not my style of thing.
You
right?
should really watch HGTV.
There's nothing wrong. That's just not my style. But it's like we both got to the same point. Like, yeah, we took different ways, but we got to the same point. And that's why I guess I'm rerouting it earlier to what we said. There really is no right way to marriage. If you meet somebody you love, y'all love each other, y'all wanting to grow with each other. I think that's a big part, right? I think another part of marriage is realizing who somebody is today and who somebody is 5 years from now could be completely different, right?
Completely different.
And I think honestly, you got to be willing to grow with that person. Like, you have to be willing to do that.
My wife is from Baltimore, Maryland, and when I met her, I thought she was the loudest, most obnoxious. Everything that we stereotype about people that are from the north. I thought about her. You feel me? And then over the time, and she'll tell you some of the stuff might have been true, But like over the time with being with her and just watching her, even even though we are a little bit older, like watching her matriculate and all that stuff, like even her stances and the way that she approached things have changed. She's not the same person that I met in 2017. Like she's significantly, not significantly different because the core of her still the same. I loved her then, and I'm loving who she's becoming as a person as we get older. You feel me? Like so, I had to realize that I am changing as well. Like I'm not the same person that she met. You feel me? So for you to be in tune with your partner and to love them in the midst of those changes, those are some things for me. Now this is all. This is not objective at all. This is.
No, you stole my. I was gonna say that.
You went. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, my bad. But no, this. Oh, I love doing this with you. Oh, but it's like seriously, like I always tell people this all the time. I think sometimes I remember when I first got married, and I think because I was young and got married, there's certain conversations I just so happen to have people to approach me to things. Some people think I was like. I remember one time somebody had said to me, it was like, "Oh, you think you something because you married now?" I was like, "What's the difference?" Like, and I also people this: if you have no desire to get married, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, I legit think there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, I don't even think marriage is a requirement to lifelong happiness. Like, if you with a woman, or if you're a man with a man, whatever you like to do in your bedroom is your business, first of all. But whatever you like to do, who you want to be with. If you never want to get married, there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's a lot of people out here who are married, who got all these things, but they aren't happy as hell.
Oh, your success is not dictated by your marriage.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
who you are.
Yeah, like so. If you don't want to get married, like if you want to have a relationship that's healthy too, there's nothing wrong with that. Cause I think the same things that people seek in marriage, you can seek in a relationship with somebody that don't got the binding contract to it too. So sorry, I think you were trying to get that point, but it's like you do not have to get married to achieve a level of happiness.
Right.
That is literally your choice.
And what works for me might not be your thing. It might not be HET for you. It might be something else.
I mean, literally, yeah. I was never like I never thought like for me, my moment was I never forget. Right, and for me it was actually something with football. Right, so I had hurt my knee. And it wasn't like a bad injury, but like I hurt my knee and my knee just never got right. And like I got tendonitis in my knee, and I kind of started realizing, bro, you ain't going to the league. Like that's just not for you. And I'm just not good enough, right? But in my mind, I always told myself that's what I was gonna be. I was told Lauren, yeah, when I make it, I'm gonna do all this for us and all this thing. And it's like, damn, I have to reflip my whole mind on what I'm gonna do. I never forget. I was in our apartment. Because like in my sophomore to junior year, I knew it, but like I never vocalized it. I remember like it was like junior year to hit me. It's like, yeah, I ain't going to the league. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. Cause it was football, school, but I was in school for football, right? I was being real, like so this is all it was for. So it was like, damn, what am I doing? I never forget. Like I was down, and Lauren was like, what's wrong? I was like, well, I'm the dreams I told you I had football. I don't think it's going to happen. I just finally said it out loud that I'm not going to make it. It's just, oh, baby, it's okay. I know you're going to be great at whatever you do and make it happen for us. I'm like, that was the day for me. It's oh, I got the ring in this.
Let me get my shit together.
Right, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, it was the factor of, this was somebody who knew me, knew my dreams and ambition. I'm literally at my lowest point at that moment, realizing what I dreamed my whole life is not going to happen. And they're like, that's okay. You're going to be great at whatever you do. And that to me just was like, you literally see, like, to me, it's like you see something in me that I may not have realized yet. And you want to be with me. Because she said, for us. She didn't say, you're going to be all right. She said, no, you're going to take care of us. And that just let me know she had faith in me, right? And it was one of the things like, and I remember something my mama always told me. She used to always talk about 3 different women that you should always talk different women you bring home. She's like, don't bring home to me the girl that you just met last night. Don't bring home to me the girl that you don't plan on being the mother of your children. She was like, bring home to me the woman that's going to be your wife. And I was like, at the moment, I was like, that's the one I'm going to bring home to mama. Because my mom is only, enjoyed life. But mom has only met 2 women I've been associated with. That is my girlfriend in high school and my wife. That's it. I don't really like home to mom that I don't believe in. So at that moment is when I realized, oh yeah, you cool.
Oh, my system is vastly different from that. My mama for all of them. Every single last one of them.
You showing everybody. Okay, so that's funny. So we'll go off the test. So you would bring everybody on the mama for real?
Why not?
I don't know. Well, maybe my mom told me don't bring them.
I mean, not everybody. That's what it was. Not everybody. And I was actually in some serious relationship with women that never met my mom, but a good bit of women, yeah.
Well, that's also why but you've always been nicer than me though when it comes to stuff like that.
I'm infinitely nicer than you.
Yeah, you are infinitely. Man, but you know what? We can wrap this up though. But like, honestly, man, we just want to really talk about marriage. I feel like a lot of times, you don't see a lot of times where black men are really having an open conversation about marriage. I think there's sometimes a misconception that black men don't want to be married. I think with this generation, and you hinted at it too, what's changed, I think sometimes people are just getting married later, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I sometimes think that's better because I think when you're older, you can say you know yourself better, you're more mature, you've been through life. Because I think a lot of times when you do get married young, I think people rush into things a lot of times, right? Because I've had some people talk more, when I was getting married, people talk to me more about the wedding than the actual marriage itself. And I'm like, the wedding is a show. That is purely a show. The work comes in the marriage itself, right? Yeah. That's the lifetime commitment. So either what, but overall, man, you want to get married, cool. If not, that's cool too. But marriage is a good thing.
And even on the flip side of that, like this episode is we talked a lot about our own marriages because we do have awesome wives.
Yes, I do.
At the end of the day, like as men, like you said in that conversation, like it's okay to have conversations with other men. You talk about if that's something that you want to do. So okay to identify what are your needs based off, the conversation you have with other people. It's okay for you to identify what it is that you are looking for in a marriage and what you can and cannot do within a marriage and how your marriage should look. It's okay to not want to be married. It's okay for all of that. It's okay to have these open dialogue conversations so that we're finding ourselves. And, this was my go-to guide with that because I had no idea what I was doing. He was the only married friend I had at the time.
Shit, I didn't know. I was a look, man. I love it. So I did what I did. That was that simple.
So find you somebody, have the conversations, and just do the right thing like Spike Lee.
Man, overall, man, shoot. You find somebody you love, just be with them. However being with them looks like you, man, just be with them. Marriage is different for everybody. See y'all. Because really what you said ultimately was, what does relinquish mean to you? So, like, what does that even mean to you in the first place? And what you want to convey in our show?
So, like, relinquish, when I hear that and I think about what you guys have created and what it is to me. So, a lot of times when we hear the term or we feel the analogy of, like, somebody being shackled or, held down to whatever circumstance that's holding them down, we think about the cuffs actually being an exterior force that's right around your wrist. Sometimes you are holding on to those things. Yeah. And then when you relinquish it, let it go, you're free, right? So, but that is a process within itself.
You create your own freedom, ultimately.
You're creating your own freedom. The freedom is there. You feel me? Like, there's always going to be outside forces that, influence you to behave as if you were entrapped. That ain't necessarily it. You feel me? So, when I hear relinquish, you're letting go things that are holding you down from being free. Like, literally, Erykah Badu bag lady. Like, let the bags go so you can fly. So that's what I hear when I hear relinquish.
That's real, bro. I mean, that's ultimately what relinquish what we try to convey. I mean, ultimately, we're trying to let people know, like, your freedom is really your own. The freedom is there for you to obtain. The freedom is there for you to get it, but you have to let go so you can be free and fly away. Absolutely. I mean, really, just what you said, man.
Absolutely. So even when I think about what it is that we are in the journey of where we're trying to create, and this is a show, and it's so many. Let's not get beside ourselves and say that we're groundbreaking and we're doing something new. It's men talking about issues from a man's perspective. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Yeah. But what I want people to know is that what I hope is different, or what we're even. I hope this isn't different, but I hope what is the message, what you get from us is, while what we're saying isn't fact, and it may not be fact.
No, it's not fact.
Yeah, it can be based on facts, but it ain't fact.
We're not getting bullshit.
And it isn't the truth. Right? This is our truth. This is what we feel to be true. This is what we think is, what is relevant. This is our moral scope. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you have to trust your own truth. You have to believe, you have to find what it is that you believe. And you have to live by that code. and hopefully that coincides with everybody else, and you just doing your part to make this world a better place.
See, this is why you were one of the first people to take pictures of. You explained it perfectly. But no, I mean, nah, bro. I mean, I definitely do feel you in that. Like, ultimately, what we want people to get from Relinquish is really what you think it is. I mean, honestly, ultimately, it's about being free.
Right.
So, whatever your idea of being free is, that's what it's gonna be.
So you gotta understand, like, Relinquish is as far as what you guys built. Like, you have to go straight to the source for that. But use Relinquish as a term, as a word, as a lifestyle. That ultimately, I'm telling you to use that to set you free.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we need.